Howdy do, everyone, and welcome back to the ranch. Good to have you here today. I hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving. We did. We got all the family together and really had a good time. Really enjoyed being together and being thankful for the important things in life. I hope you guys got to do the same with your families. Anyway, good to have you here today. I appreciate that a lot. Just to kind of bring you up to speed on what's been going on out here on the ranch. Our last remaining ranch neighbor, one back here to the east, is selling their ranch. We're going to be the last ones here from the original bunch that was here when we got here back in 1989. But it's not one of those deals where they're selling out to big money or in developers or anything like that. Their situation is that the matriarch of the family sadly passed away this past summer, and none of the four heirs can afford to run the place by themselves, which is very understandable because taxes and everything have gotten so high around here compared to what they were when we all came onto these ranches here. But nevertheless, it's going to be a really sad thing. I drive by that house every day just going to town and have done so for 33 years, so it's going to be pretty sad to drive by that house and for them not to be there anymore. But and like I said, that's not one of these things. I'm not frustrated with them. That's just another part of life that you just have to do the best you can with what life deals you some days, and they are. They're good people, wonderful people, and we will miss them dearly. However, like I said, I've been driving past that place for the last 33 years, and something happened back around the year 2000 that kind of got my attention. And as I was driving to work one day, I noticed a vehicle that looked a whole lot like this parked out beside their house. And I've always had a soft spot for those Blazers because when I was a young man, my roommate and I, we both worked for the government, and he had one of those and we drove it all over the place. Great vehicles. And I passed this one every day for about 3 or 4 months, and I noticed, it was sitting out there without the top on it in the same place for 3 or 4 months. And the matriarch of this family stopped by the clinic one day, and I was asking her, I said, that Blazer that's out beside your house, I said, that it's been out there in the elements for a long time uncovered. I said, what's the story on it? She said, it belongs to my grandson. He's been deployed to Iraq. And I said, oh, I see. I said, well, if you'll get a hold of him, tell him I'd be happy to come tarp it, put a tarp over it and secure it. And I said, and honestly, if he wants to sell it, I'd like to buy it. Because at the time I was looking for a father-son project to turn into Matt's first car. And like I said, I already like those old vehicles like crazy, and I knew Matt would as well. So anyway, she said, well, I'll talk to him and see if he wants to sell it. And a few weeks later, she's back in the clinic, and I asked her if she had gotten in touch with him. She said, yes, she did, and that he didn't want to sell it, and that he had plans for it. And she said, she said she'd get her son to go put a tarp on it. And I said, okay. Well, that never happened. But nevertheless, it went on and on like this for years and years and years. About every 2 or 3 years, I'd either stop by the house or they'd be in the clinic, and I'd ask them about the old truck, and they said, well, we'll get with the grandson and ask him. Same story every time. Until this past summer, when sadly the matriarch of the family passed away. The changes that are going to have to be made, they need to clean the place up to sell it, and this old junker right here was left out there, and over 23 years it went from this to this. It had become a pretty big eyesore. So the heirs got in touch with me. They got in touch with the grandson, who decided this time he would sell it because he did not want to come down from Virginia, have to dig the thing out of the earth, tow it onto a trailer, and then pay to ship it to Virginia when the thing had deteriorated to its current level. All the tires were rotten. The wheels were embedded in the earth. I had to cut limbs off a tree that had grown up in front of the Blazer, preventing my ability to get the hood open, and I wound up buying the thing. And granted, it was indeed one of those impulse buys. I didn't give it a second thought, and I guess it was because I had driven past this thing for 23, 24 years, however long it's been, seeing it there and wishing I had it. Each year it got a little more dilapidated, but each year didn't seem to faze my desire to own it. Like I said, it was an impulse buy and may have not been a very smart one. Nevertheless, that's secondary. I own this little peach right now, so with no further ado, I'll yank this cover off of it and I'll show you what 23 years of setting out in the Texas weather will do to a 1972 Blazer. Do not attempt to adjust your television. All Blazers tilt to the left, especially when two of their tires are rotten. But Matt came over with his big trailer. I got air in all the tires and I knew it would hold the air for just a little bit. So we hooked a winch onto it, pulled it up onto his trailer, and by the time we got it from their place to mine, which is like half a mile, two of the tires were already completely flat. We destroyed one pulling it up on the trailer. Get you down off that tripod, folks, and here we go. Feast your eyes on this. Yep, this is a 1972, and yes, they did come with white fiberglass tops on them. When they brought this one to Boerne, they put the top on it, failed to put the bolts on it that hold the top to the Blazer. It blew off on the highway and busted into a million pieces. And that's the passenger side, or as it's also known, the drinker side. And one of the most fun things to do when you buy somebody else's vehicle is to look at all the extras that came with it. And boy, do we have some extras in this truck. Got a couple of small block Chevy heads right there in perfect condition. Just been sitting out in the rain for 20 years. Got some small block valve covers right there. And yes, those could come in handy, except, uh-oh, you can see daylight through that one. So, almost. What have we here? An aluminum intake manifold for a small block Chevy. All right. All kinds of pulleys and jars with liquids we don't care to research. Aftermarket fan there. Alternator down there. Charging whirler if you watch Vice Grip Garage. A starter. Got a battery charger there. More pulleys. That blue thing's a water pump. Got some mighty fine looking lightning hoses there. Again, there's that air conditioner compressor. And there's the air cleaner of this little pristine vehicle. I bet the stereo's going to sound pretty good in this dude too. Honestly though, someone rhino lined this. They sprayed a liner on it, a weatherproof liner, and that saved the rocker panels. These rocker panels in trucks that have been out in the weather with no roof on them for 20 years are usually completely rotted out. This is indeed the deluxe model that has a tachometer. You don't see how many RPMs you're turning. You just reach down and hold it like that. Show it to your friends. Pretty impressive. This is the scary part back down under here. Looks like a big old electrical fire just waiting to happen. All kinds of hot lines, all kinds of hot wires hanging down there. And there's about 10 cans of some type of oil over there that has absolutely no labels left on them whatsoever. This was all sitting in the passenger floorboard. And as you can see, one of them had leaked out. It made a heck of a mess. Got an oil filter wrench right there and a pair of pliers and a great old big stick in case we need it. And there's a fine radio right there, probably where half the wires are going. Oh, and check that out. Yep, drinking and driving back in the day. All right, and there's our tailgate. And this is the captain's side here. Matt and I ruined that tire right there, getting it on the trailer. And this one didn't fare very well either. I don't know how old these tires were when they were parked, but this one's got an incredible amount of tread on it. That's a $300 tire today, but not anymore. Not when you leave it out like that. But as you can see, the weather was rough. And like I said, there was a tree that grew up right in front of it, and limbs came over the hood and filled this little area right here up with leaves. And the worst part about that is rain comes down there, it turns those leaves into dirt year after year after year, and it rots out the front of the panel. I'll show you that in just a minute. When I first picked it up, neither of the doors would open. Amazing what a little WD-40 will do. The tailgate was frozen as well. Look at that. And what's behind door number 3? Hey, they all open. How about that? This trash can's about half full of organic compost, limbs, and leaves. This one's full of things that don't biodegrade. And honestly, there was twice that much stuff in here. I took a leaf blower after it, and it looked like a tornado out here. We do have some rot right through there, and that's just because the rain got in here and went down these door panels after the little rubber gaskets all rotted away. Collected down there and rotted that out. I can buy a patch panel to weld in there. But anyway, there's the bed, and as I said, had it not been for that lining that was put on here and on the tailgate and also in the front floorboards, there would be nothing left. And this seat pulls forward, and it's going to take a lot of work. But anyway, that is the Blazer. Okay, we can take a gander now under the hood. It wouldn't open either. Another can of WD-40 went on those hinges there. But this is a small block 400 for those of you car guys out there. Power brakes, power steering. And this one actually had an air conditioner in it too at one time. That area right there, that's where all those leaves and sticks and twigs that got down in front of the windshield and held all that moisture rotted out that panel. That's called the inner cowl panel, and you can buy those now. Good thing about it, I was wondering about this thing through the years, because they used to not make panels for Blazers. You had to buy panels for C10 pickup trucks and use those panels on them, and now you can buy every part of this car. And there's another example of the fine wiring. Looks like old Bubba's been under here. Okay, we're on the passenger side now, looking to the front of the vehicle, and you can see up against the frame right there. There's some rust right there that'll need to be taken care of, but the frame itself is in really, really good condition. And I do not have a clue how the dashboard kept from rusting out. You would think the rain and everything would come down here and gathered in it and rusted it all out, but even the dash pad looks good. So I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, folks, that's the Blazer. Well, folks, there you have it. There's our old girl in all her glory, or at least what's left of all her glory. Living proof that time changes everything, and rarely for the better. Anyway, I would surely appreciate your opinions and ideas on what I should do with it. Should I just sell it? Should I cut my losses right now before they get any worse and just get rid of it? Should I get it running? Should I do a restoration on it? I'm kind of open. I really don't know what I want to do with it. I know that you can spend $75,000 turning one of these trucks into a $50,000 truck pretty darn easily. I don't care to go there. Honestly, I'd kind of like to have it just to run around here on the ranch, because there's places where I don't want to take my white truck to get it beat up, and I can't get enough equipment on the four-wheeler. This would be perfect for that. But there will be a lot of work left to do. It's got good bones. The frame is solid. One of my friends rebuilt that motor. He's got a machine shop here in town. He rebuilt the motor about 5,000 miles ago. How it has withstood sitting still for 23 years is yet to know. Transmission, everything, transfer case and all was working well, according to the guy that I bought the car from. And he's an honest man, he wouldn't lie. But definitely will need wheels and tires. Some of the wheels are rusted so bad that the tires leak air between the wheel and the tire. So that's a major investment. And then just hoses and belts and all the fluids. And you know, it's gonna take a lot. The wiring will probably be very expensive. I'll probably have to buy a whole wiring harness and redo the entire thing because it is a rat's nest in there. But anyway, folks, I know this was a weird video. For those of you that aren't car guys or car gals, I apologize for this, but I know a lot of you like that kind of stuff. So anyway, there you go. Like I said, leave me your opinions on what I should do with this sweet old truck. Alrighty guys, that's it from out here on the ranch today. Thanks again for dropping by. You know it means a lot to me. I really, really appreciate it. God bless you all. Look forward to seeing you next time, and I want you to always remember I love you. Bye-bye now. So what you doing there, Al?
Neutering a dog, Dad.
All right. Who's gonna learn you?
That's a mistake.